One. We are live. We are on the air. YouTube, Twitch. Can you hear me now? We are
Oops.
CAMEOS coming at you for our weekly debrief on everything nerdy, comic book, anime, movies, everything else related. My name is O'Shaughnessy. This is
Oh, Samwise.
Sam Wise. You changing your name back
I
again?
no, I'm drunk
Samwise
apparently.
Gamgee. Oh, it's a Monday night. You
No,
need to
I'm
turn
drunk
it down.
clearly.
Turn it down. So we're on a brief hiatus from some Marvel stuff for right now. We got hit over the head last week with some divisive releases: Moon Knight's conclusion and Doctor Strange 2.
Yes.
If you're joining us here again today, you probably know how we felt about those things, but we didn't leave off on a high note. So we're gonna wait for the next release with Thor: Love and Thunder and Miss Marvel,
Mhm.
but that gives us a little bit of time in between. So we're gonna do what we're calling for right now a CAMEOS callback. That's not official, patent pending, but that we're gonna do a retrospective on some stuff. There's so much stuff that comes out these days, it's hard to keep up. So we wanted to go back and touch on something that we had really enjoyed, which was Netflix's Arcane series, which was supposed to be a limited release. We got chat in the mix. Hopefully, you've seen Arcane, and if you haven't, I don't know. You want to try to do like a spoiler-free discussion on it?
Yeah, because I would like this is to hopefully get you guys to watch
Yeah. So
and enjoy. We don't want to spoil it for you.
I'll
So
avoid any big major plot point spoilers, but I will say
mhm.
that if you're listening to this and you think you're about to watch it, go watch it and then come listen to us talk about it, because I don't want to spoil anything if you're on the cusp. But if you're here with
Mhm.
us today and you're on the fence, well, let's talk a little bit about it, because you and I stand this shit hard, and we aren't
Yeah,
even like sweaty League of Legends boys.
we're
So
not sweaty League of Legends boys.
we, as much as we
We don't
try,
we don't play normals. We don't do anything ranked
we're
in
not
League of
allowed to
Legends.
play normals. Thank
We're
you.
not. We're terrible. They kicked us
It's
out.
like
All we do is ARAM. We're
uh
ARAM and TFT boys.
our friends queue up in the lobby and they're like, oh, okay, Sean and Sam are joining. You guys just want to do ARAM? You just want to do like you just want to do like casual stuff? Because
Yeah, we've been bullied off of
we've been
anything
bullied
normals
out.
related in League of Legends.
So yeah, this is Arcane is a TV show on Netflix. Came out
Hmm.
earlier this year, late last year. I
What?
think it
No,
was
was it?
2021, right?
Yeah, 2021. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, late last year,
late
2021.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe fall to December last year on
Hmm.
Netflix. It was a 9-part miniseries kind of thing,
Hmm.
that follows the world of League of Legends. Now, you
Hmm.
heard Sam and I say at the top, we don't like, we play, but we're super casual. My wife watched this. She's never played. She absolutely
Hmm.
loved it. So there's a ton of things going for this outside of like having to know the show inside and out. You
Hmm.
definitely don't. Um,
Yeah, you
but
don't
I
need to know the game inside
no,
and out at all to watch this show.
no, it was, and that's one of the
Yeah.
best things about it is, I mean,
Hmm.
there's certain shows that like do this so well, where you don't need to know any of the source material, and this is like a good way to like bring you into it.
Hmm.
Like Castlevania is another one that comes off the top of my head. And I'm
Hmm.
just thinking about animated stuff specifically. I guess The Witcher as well. Everybody knows
Hmm.
The Witcher. That was based off of a video game, which was based off of books, but the show definitely pulls from the video game.
Hmm.
Um, you don't need to know the source stuff. It helps. Like
Yeah,
there's
and
some
I
Easter
think
eggs in there.
yeah, and I think it helps you appreciate the show more.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, like the League of Legends lore is it has nothing to do with this show at
No.
all.
Well, and you're
Like,
also talking about lore that's spanned like 2 decades at this point. It's a
yeah, it's like
game that
really
has like
old.
200 characters. It's massive. I mean, it's a huge
Mhm.
undertaking. So I'm really glad that they didn't try to make a show that you had to
Mhm.
know like tons and tons of backstory for, because that would have absolutely killed it outright.
Right.
I think a
And I
lot of
think
people just would have dropped off.
and I think outside of the city of Piltover, It's
Hmm.
not even that same in that same vein. Like so, for example, and this is not a spoiler in any way. Uh, the main character or one of
Hmm.
the main characters, Vi, uh, in the League of Legends lore, her partner is Caitlyn.
Right.
So they are like police officers. They work together. That's not what the show
Was that canon in the
does
game
at
before the
all.
show, or did the show create that?
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
there's like League lore. You can go back and read it.
Right.
Uh, like I think it's like back in 2016. There's like these character stories,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah,
that's one of
yeah.
the character stories.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right, that's
Yeah,
cool.
Caitlyn and Vi are partners.
So yeah,
Mhm,
they end up paying tribute to that. That's one of the cool things, that if you know the background and then you come into the show, you're like, damn,
mhm,
cool. All right, they paid homage. Um, so yeah, I mean, let's talk about what the show's about a little bit, because you know the story, while it's nothing super in depth, like that you have to
mhm,
know an encyclopedia's worth of stuff for. Um, it is pretty tame. I mean, I think that's
mhm,
one of the big criticisms of the story, is that, or the show, is that the story is pretty um unoriginal, but in my opinion, what I liked about it so much was it was a simple story done well. I mean, I'm
mhm.
thinking like Avatar, the James Cameron movie,
You mean
where
Pocahontas?
I mean Pocahontas. I mean Fern. What I mean is Fern Gully. I'm trying to
You mean
say. I mean,
Ferngully?
my name is Batty. Uh, the story is pretty safe. So we
Yeah.
follow these two girls who are from like the slums of this city called Piltover. It's one of the
Mhm,
cities in this world. These two girls are basically abandoned, not abandoned, but their father dies when they're super young.
mhm.
In this
And
clash
like a
between like the wealthy and
yeah.
the impoverished. So there's these
Mhm.
people that live down in the pit of Piltover. What do they call it? Like the
I
uh
actually forgot.
it
Wow.
become it
It's like the
under
Undercity or
the
something like that.
Undercity. Yeah, they
Something
have a
like
bunch
that.
of
Yeah.
nicknames for it, but it's basically like people living in the sewers. These
Yeah.
girls are from down there, and they are constantly embattled with these people living up on their high horses, up in these literal ivory towers.
Mhm,
That's a big theme of the show, is these two dynamics, and like the impoverished people just getting kicked over the head over and over again, and they're sick of it. And the upper class just being like, we got other stuff going on.
mhm,
So the girls, we follow the girls' exploits. It's Vi and Powder, going through. They have like a small, makeshift family down there,
mhm.
in the Undercity, and their caretaker, crud, what's his name? And it's going to escape me to
Back, is it Vance? Vane?
Vander,
Vander, thank you.
Vander,
Man, we knew it started with a V.
Vander.
Clearly we're drunk today.
Yeah, both of us just showed up lit. Vander, the person who was taking care of them, ends up not being
Mhm,
able to take care of them anymore. So we follow their exploits. There's like some time skips and stuff going on, but overall, it's
mhm,
this big narrative between Vi and Powder. Um, they end up clashing and butting heads at the end of this, and it's their journey through childhood into
mhm,
adolescence, with all of these big thematic things going on, in the city. And it was
mhm.
fantastic. I mean, there's a bunch of subplots. It's one of those shows that it's like that movie Crash, where you have different storylines taking place in different places. So while Vi
Mhm,
and Powder are like the main characters, they're the ones that you see on like the cover art when you load it up on Netflix. There's plenty of other stuff that follows, like Jace, who's like up in the high tower. There's Caitlyn,
mhm,
who you had mentioned at the beginning. And we sort of get to see all of their stories intertwine and interconnect at certain places, and they all definitely, butterfly effect off of each other. I think that was a
mhm,
really clever way that they did that. Was not
mhm,
just centering the show around two people, because they easily could have done that.
mhm,
But surprisingly, because I think, well, maybe unsurprisingly, because the story is so safe, it is a safe story. There's
mhm,
nothing like groundbreaking. There's a couple twists in there with the characters, but like there's no,
mhm.
the political drama that takes place is like, it's not that big. But because
Well, not I'd say not that big yet. I think that's
not
probably
that
a
big yet.
major
Yeah.
plot point later for the future seasons. It'll
Yeah.
probably matter a lot more than it did in these first two.
Yeah, but because
Mhm.
of all of that is laid out pretty
Or first
vanilla,
one, sorry.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. We do get to see these stories come together and like crisscross, and
Mhm,
um interact in really, really interesting ways. So you're constantly seeing new characters interact that didn't interact before. And you've only got 9 episodes. I mean, this is a 9 episode thing, and the episodes are only 45 minutes long, maybe an hour. I really, really appreciate how it was all orchestrated, how it was directed, the storytelling. While it was simple, it was extravagantly done. I mean, I don't think they could have told the story that they told any better. Now, whether you're a fan of the story or not, that's up for debate. But
I think it gets better as you watch it, right? So it starts off really slow and like, all right, but then it gets more interesting as it goes on. Even though the story's not like too dynamic, and then also the art is really good, which I didn't expect for that type of like CG animation. I always hated that,
right?
But I think it's done really well in Arcane. It looks beautiful. The fight sequences are amazing. That's what really grabs you. I think all of us want to see like good animation at the end of the day. Like the story's cool, but if it's not animated well, I'm not watching this. So I think that Arcane does that very, very well. And then like I love the characters that I bring in. All the characters are like fun to me, especially if you play League in any way. So you said Vi, Caitlyn, Heimerdinger's in there.
Yep.
Singe is in there.
Heimerdinger. Yeah, one of the cool things that this world does have, and that they pulled from, that they didn't shy away from, was the variety of characters, and they come from all walks of life, and all species and types of things. So like Heimerdinger is this little tiny
Yordle
that looks like one of the Ewoks from Star Wars, but he's like a genius scientist guy. And that's one of the cool things that they can do when they keep it animated is keep that creativity. Thank God they didn't decide to do this like live action or something.
Yeah,
like
that would have been terrible.
Imagine that.
That would have been terrible, actually.
That would have been. Because this lore is very fantastical. There's magic and there's science, and it all sort of gets blended together, which is another big theme of this series. I really appreciated how they told those different stories from those different characters so well, because one of the other great things that I think this show has, which it does not get enough credit, is the voice acting. I thought was like way better than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, and they had real people.
Yeah,
or not. Sorry, let's say it better. They had like non-traditional like voice actors. So voice actors that are like just actors in general doing some of this voice acting.
Haley, the chick that plays Kate Bishop, was Vi.
I know the kid from from Blackish. he plays I don't know if they call him Echo, but it's definitely Echo.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. No, they call him Echo. They do.
They call him Echo?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the not only the animation is fantastic, which I think this might be some of my favorite animation. Like it's so good. The fights, you like understated it. The fights are like insane. These are some of the best. Like if you like anime and you like the fight scenes in anime, like One Punch Man, Mob Psycho, the over the top, like screen is going crazy and they like put these crazy effects on the screen. They lean into all of that. It's obviously not anime. It's an American. Well, I don't think it's an American animation studio, but like you said, it's like 3D stylized, but they lean so heavy into that. I love it. They did such a good job.
Oh wait, and sorry, I gotta correct that. It's not a kid from Blackish. It's a kid from this Nickelodeon show.
Oh, okay. But
sorry, my bad.
Echo.
Yes, he played Echo. My bad. I had to let me fix that up. But yeah, it's really, really, really good, especially for like what it is. It's like a fun show to watch. And I for me personally, I'll be honest, I love anime, but I appreciate anime that I can watch that's not in English, or sorry, that is in English.
That is in English.
Because then I gotta read, because if I watch it, I only watch subs, and then I gotta focus because I'm reading and watching. I can't do two things. Not to say this is anime,
do you watch
but
dubs of anything?
Not unless it's like really old, because I don't like the voice acting in most anime. So let's say Jujutsu Kaisen, because we talked about that before. I don't watch the dub, I can't deal with it. It doesn't sound good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll watch it in Japanese. Because even if they're terrible voice actors, I can't tell. So at this point, I'm just reading and it sounds fine to me and I can watch it. So with Arcane, you can watch something animated well and there's action, there's a bunch of stuff going on, but it's not hard to follow. So you can do other things while you're watching it.
Yeah.
And then it looks good while you're watching it. And I really like the conflict in it as well. Because like you point out, there's conflict in multiple places. There's like the hex tech stuff going on.
Right.
There's the political stuff going on. There's like Vi got her thing going on. There's so much happening, but it's not overbearing and it's not hard to pick up.
Right. And I think that's because all the stories are told in these 3-part sequences. So we get to meet, I think we meet all the characters in the first 3 episodes. And they all get like the first act of their story. And again, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the story being like, it's nothing that's going to blow you away. It's like they follow rules of storytelling, but because it's done so well and because they have to explore so many characters, I really appreciated that they did it in this way. So you get the first 3 episodes, you meet all the characters, you get their first act. Then the second episode, you got a time skip of like, I don't know, 5-10 years, something like that. And all their stories have now developed a lot further. And then the third act takes place right after the second act. And you get the conclusion of everything that's been building up.
And then hints to the season 2 and more political drama, people from outside of Piltover coming in because what happens there affects the world in some way. This is a lot going on.
One of the cool things that this show gets to explore, like thematically, because the city of Piltover is like this hub of innovation, is like you get to see what you just said, like folks coming in from other cities and countries because they want, to have part of the blossoming technology
stuff.
They call it, it's basically when magic meets science, it's called hex tech is what they do in League of Legends. And when that starts to explode, all these other countries start coming in, but then you still have this whole dynamic playing out with Piltover dealing with their underground problem that's always been there. And you sort of get to see these like clash, these, like the people sitting up on the council in the ivory tower, Piltover, really just concerned with the external affairs, but all this stuff is happening on the inside. And there's like, that's the main drama that's happening on the inside.
And because the dregs of society are now like, we want what is here as well. They're going into the upper city, taking things, and it's bad for business essentially. So that's the political, like
that's how it all like wraps.
Yeah, that's how it all wraps. It all ties. It's really well done to me. Really good to see
how it tells like a whole story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no the only loose ends that are left are like intentional for next season. Like if it doesn't tie in directly to the big events, like the big picture, then it definitely has some like thread that they're going to follow leading forward. Like even some of the side stories, like you mentioned Echo and Heimerdinger, the way that their thing leaves off was kind of like the culmination of their 2 separate stories, syncing together, because they were sort of side characters in each of their own arcs. And the way that they like threaded together at the end of that, I thought that was really neat. Now that I'm like thinking about that, I thought that was a nice little finish for them.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, because it was those 2 side characters that were sort of on the outs of their own story, just side characters in their own thing, but then they come together and you see how much they had in common. Yeah. Okay.
And I don't want to like spoil anything for anyone that's gonna tune in and watch this, but I think it's gonna be really good whenever next season comes out. And to be fair, apparently it took them like 6 years to make.
Yep, with a budget of maybe like 900 of 100 million. So
yeah,
I do think based on the popularity of this show that they'll I don't think it'll take another 6 years, because I think the hype will have completely died off for it. Like, not people that follow it, but the average casual fan isn't going to be waiting 6 years in between seasons. Nobody's going to remember what happened.
Right.
The first one. And not everybody's going to go back and rewatch the first one.
Yeah. And I think also Netflix is like thirsty for content these days. They lost all their Marvel stuff. Like we were just talking earlier about, like, I'm watching John Q on Netflix, so they just been adding whatever they can get. They're just adding, and I think original content is like it nets the best for them. So I would imagine that let's get these Netflix originals.
They're pretty quick to scrap
out there.
Original stuff too, though, if it doesn't bring in
the
audience that they want, which is unfortunate. I don't think they'll do that with this.
I don't think they'll do it for this. I'm not gonna say it's unfortunate because I think a lot of the stuff that they scrap wasn't good to me.
Yeah.
I think the one thing, and not to get off topic, the one thing they scratched that was like amazing to me was it was like a musical. I think Baz Luhrmann did it, set in the Bronx in like the 70s. They did one season because it was so expensive. Because of the music that they used, it cost too much to like use that actual music in the show. So they scrapped the next season. Plus, what's it called?
There was just another show that I know got scrapped outright, and it wasn't even because they didn't have enough viewers. It was because people weren't watching it the right way. Netflix like tracks not only how many people view the content, but how quickly they get through it. So if you get if you have shows that people are like watch an episode, no, they want you like they want content that people sit down and then burn through.
Yeah.
So that they get to something else. Which is kind of bizarre.
And the show is it's called The Get Down.
The Get Down?
Yeah, it's called The Get Down. It was really good.
That sounds familiar.
But I think to your point, like you said, they want things that people will burn through. So they keep, I assume they need them to keep watching, right? You need keep subscribing, get through this content. I like their model. So
until
I'm fine with it.
Start doing ads and lockdown on the passwords.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one day.
Yeah, they're talking about doing that at the end of the year. All right, so going back to Netflix's Arcane. I think the only other thing I really wanted to talk on outside of what we've already touched on, we got plenty of themes they explored. It's a great story. It's a simple story done great. The animation quality is fantastic. So many characters, all voice acted fairly well. I don't know if the single voice actor stuck out to me as being like bad. Some were better than others. Like Vander was upper echelon. That I was like blown away at how good that dude was. The accessibility, sort of circling it, tying all the way back to what we started on, the accessibility of like this lore, this world. I find it really interesting what Riot is doing there, making a show that very clearly you don't need to have any of the background source material. It's not like a game. It's not a show made for fans of the game. It's a show that if you're a fan of the game, here's some extra stuff for you. But like it's really to draw more people in and get them curious and be like, hey, this shit's pretty cool. What's going on? I think,
and to draw people into the actual game. Because remember, as soon as the show came out, you're playing League. We're doing our ARAM thing. Yeah. And then here's people. Hey, this is Vi from Arcane. Like,
this is Vi from Arcane.
Yeah. Including people making accounts.
The hell out of the show on the game and vice versa. But I think even independent
buying skins, joining the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think even independent of that, they are releasing a ton of non-League of Legends games. I mean, you start with like, excuse me, I got a hiccup. I ate too many meatballs. Teamfight Tactics, which is their like chess. It's their variant of like 4D chess where you just move around pieces, and it's nothing like League of Legends. It's a totally different little side game. So they did that. They released Runeterra, which is like a card-based game, completely, again, independent. It's like a card builder. If you played Hearthstone, it's like that. It's really good. They released the Rune King, Legend of the Rune King.
Yeah, the one you have.
Yeah, that game's awesome. That's a totally different style game, but these are all based in this world. And then they're going to release a MMO apparently at some point. So I think them doing this sort of, it's like an advertising campaign, but it's way more expensive and way more like in depth and thought out than just like running some marketing. Like they're trying to bring in people from all different interests and, you know, okay, so you don't like the top down like MOBA style game that League of Legends is. All right, well, we have something else for you.
Yeah, but they also give you like League of Legends Lite with Wild Rift, right? So you can just play this on your phone.
There's a mobile game too. Yeah. Well, that's a direct answer for people that just wanted to play, because like the mobile market for games is like the biggest. It's like $1 trillion market. But I just think it's really interesting that Riot is going. I don't know. They must have a lot of successful people working for them, because usually when you try a bunch of different things, not like none of them work, and then you end up like have lost a bunch of money because you put your toes in too much different water. But
I think we have people with great ideas working somewhere in your company. You just what do you think we should do, and then people listen. It's like we'll talk about more shows later, but it always brings me back to it's called the toys that made us and the movies that made us. There's always like someone there that's like, we should definitely do this, and then someone's like, nah, let's not do it. They go somewhere else where someone's like willing to listen. They do it. They make millions, billions. Like, sky's the limit. So it just takes someone taking an investment in an idea and going forth, and I think that's definitely what Riot is doing.
And just to like follow up on what I said, because I don't want to give the impression that they're making these games. Some of them they are like partnering with other developers. So like the Rune King one, for example, they partnered with somebody to make that game. And I think that's what they're doing with some of their other smaller things too that are on like Steam.
I assume that means licenses. Wow, why can I say this word? I'm drunk. Thank you. Licensing the content.
Yeah.
And then putting the money behind it, investing the money
like
into
selling the brand. They're like, hey, you want these League of Legends characters in this game you're developing, and the developers are probably like, hell yeah, because that's an IP that's been around for 2 decades, and like most people who own a computer at least know what League of Legends is, if they're not like full like neckbeard deep into it, spending thousands of dollars on skins. Like some of the people we know.
I still assume they would pay if you just pay a developer to make the game. You keep most of the profit after the fact.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a win-win though, because like the developer,
that too.
The developer gets to put something out with this. It's basically like, you want to slap Pokemon on your game? It's like, hell yeah, I want to put Pokemon on my game, even if it has nothing to do with Pokemon. Like those Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. You ever seen those things?
I've never seen those.
It's like not a Pokemon after. It's not a Pokemon game. It's like a totally different style thing, but it's made by a different company, I think. And
like Pokken.
Like like Tekken, but with Pokemon.
Bro,
I bet that thing sold better than like the Tekken before and after it came out. I'm sure that thing sold crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. It's interesting. Definitely watch this space. Season 2 is going to be legit, and if it's not, then I'm going to cry, because the first season was so great.
We'll be raging.
I'll rage. Yeah, I'm not the biggest League of Legends person. I try, but I'm not that good at it. But the lore and the world and the characters, all that stuff is done really, really well. They have very, very good writers. So even if I just continue to watch the media content that they put out, I'll be pretty pumped about it. So maybe we'll get something next year. I don't know. When do you think we're going to get another season of this, if you had to speculate?
How long would it take for another Witcher? What was that? 2 years?
2 years. There was some COVID stuff going on there, though. It slowed it down.
Yeah.
I think live action takes, actually, ironically, less
It's
time.
less time.
This
Trying to get a gauge. Maybe 3 years. I'm trying to think of how long between like animated things we've had to wait.
I'm trying to like balance how quickly I want them to release something versus how much I want them to take their time and do it right. So while I do think 6 years is probably too much for me, like if the next season comes out in 6 years,
yeah, no, I don't think it'll take 6 years. I think
I'll just have forgotten about it.
The budget probably changed at this point, so it might not need to take that long.
Right. You know, you're talking about, like you're talking about them doing TV shows these days, and some episodes of like Marvel shows were $100 million a piece. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think they had 2 episodes in there that were each like $100 million bucks. So if they could up their budget, you know, give us 9 more episodes, maybe up the budget from like 100 million to like 500 million. But it's a rough market out there, man. Like there's not.
That's a lot of. Sorry, 500 million is a lot of money. They don't even spend that on movies.
No, but I think
be fair,
some of these TV shows end up netting them more. I mean, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they spent more on that show than they did on.
Yeah, that's true.
They said that.
That's true.
And I think that's because they get their big bucks from the streaming services these days. Not everybody goes to see movies, but everybody's buying something off of a streaming service. So,
right.
Yeah. I am excited. I want to play more League of Legends right now.
We'll play some.
I want to play
some Arcane. ARAM.
Yeah. Jay, as long as Jay can carry us, then we're good.
Oh no, I'm the carry now. I played Jinx earlier today. I carried the team.
Good.
I'm getting better, and I'll still never play normals.
Then it's just me. Cool. Well, that is that'll close it out on this one. If you guys are looking for some recommendations on some more shows, stay tuned. We're gonna cover some other Netflix stuff, just stuff that we've been watching lately. A lot less of a isolated discussion. We're going to talk about more than just Arcane, but if not, it has been real. Thanks, guys. We will catch you on whatever next one you choose to join us for. Peace out.
The flippity flop.
The flippity flop. All right. We are up to 4 total viewers right now. We are just streaming across the nation right now. Who do we have? We got Andre.
Wait, is this pause right now?
No, I'm just giving us a second.
Oh, sure.
All right.
Shout out to everyone watching.
Shout out to the chat.
Appreciate
you guys. I'm feeling like Mr. Worldwide right now, even though Addis is definitely not paying attention. All right, let's go into session 2. I want to talk about. I really want to know what you've been watching lately, because I know your list is very, very different from mine. But while we are on this hiatus from Moon Knights and Miss Marvels, just going back and talking about some things that we've been watching lately, and maybe you, the viewer out there, are looking for some new things to check out as well, and you think our opinions are good, so you want to hear what we have to say. I will do this. I have a relatively short list of some shows that have come out here in the last couple of years that I think either may have gone under the radar or are just really good, and I think they're worth checking out if you've been putting them on the back burner. And then we'll turn it over to Sam, who's been watching some more, I won't say obscure things, but definitely like lore
they're
heavy.
Obscure.
Lore heavy. You want to go deep into the universe. There's some shows I think that he's been covering as well. So at the top of my list, just keeping in theme here, if you have not checked out, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. This is the last time I promise I'm gonna talk about it. If you've not checked out Arcane, go back and watch it. I'm not kidding you, man. It is some of the best animation quality wise. It's got a simple but like perfect story. The voice acting is like top tier. The music is Imagine Dragons. So that is definitely going to be a divisive one, but I'm telling you, the show is at the top of my list of like recent things that have come out that you definitely need to go check out if you have not already. All right. I think you and I are in agreement there.
Yeah.
Next up, something that we unfortunately didn't get to cover because it came out before we started our podcast, but like Loki, we talk about it often on the podcast. Favorite Marvel shows so far. You got Owen Wilson with the surprise. Yes. I expected Owen Wilson to be like so distractingly bad in that show, but it ended up working great. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. It's great. It's a fantastic story. I would even say that if you're not watching the other Marvel stuff, you'll probably really enjoy it because they explain enough at the beginning where the story is just so good throughout. Just go check it out.
But you should watch Loki also
100%.
Because for the MCU, everything they're doing is a result of what happened in Loki.
Yes.
So at the very least, you should watch Loki if you don't watch anything else.
That's a good point. It is definitely more relevant than any of the other Marvel shows. Even WandaVision, ironically, going into Doctor Strange, but Loki
is
definitely
the most relevant. Yeah. The events in Loki are what cause everything else in the Marvel universe going forward. So definitely watch Loki.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very, very good. Yeah. Invincible, Amazon Prime. Comic book, I won't say it's like a spoof, but it's definitely like a non-traditional story that follows a young Mark. I don't remember his last name, but
I don't either, but that comic is thick.
It's a thick
it's a thick comic.
It's very, very good, very violent. Voice acting is A+ again. You got like Kieran Gillian, you got what's his name from Walking Dead, baseball bat boy. Glenn, I can't remember that actor's name, but he's the main dude. Dr. Oh no, what's his name? The guy that plays J. Jonah Jameson is the dad. It's so good. It's so good. I highly recommend you watch it. Even if you don't like animated stuff, just watch the first episode. It's
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, thank you. I always think of J.K. Rowling, and then I'm like J. Jonah Jameson. J.K. Simmons. Okay.
And Zachary Quinto's in there, and I forgot that he was in that show.
It's such a good show, dude.
Yeah, it's a great show.
First episode, just like I gave up on it because I watched the first 30 minutes or so, and I was just like, "What? Like, this is just so." The first 30 minutes of the show are very much a trip for like what happens in the rest of the show and then the rest of this season. That's all I'll say. I won't spoil anything, but like, don't think that the show is like this, like, oh, we're superheroes and I'm a superhero boy learning my superhero powers. Because
that's not what it is at all.
False.
And I will say, like, the scene at the end of the first episode is what really grips everybody, and that's what makes them keep watching. And my brother, shout out to my little brother, he pointed out like that's not in the comic, so that's something they added in there. Yeah, he told me that doesn't happen in the comic.
Okay, so
and I could go fact check him to make sure. I don't think he would lie to me about that.
That would have been a really smart omission if that was something that was not in the comic. Because
I think it's one of the few things that's not in the comic that they do in that show.
Wow. Okay. Good for them.
Yeah. But it is awesome, and it makes you like, it grips you. It makes you keep watching.
For sure. Oh, I would have given up if that didn't happen. It was just a cookie cutter. That's like,
it was like all fluff. It was like, oh, all right, whatever. This is cool.
I'll flying around, and like it's all like the animation is very true to like comics. So I won't say that it's like the best animation quality that I've ever seen, but it does look like it's literally pulled right out of a comic book page.
Oh, I love that animation. I think there was one episode I didn't like the animation because it was like all the CG type that I didn't like.
It
but otherwise, I love the animation.
For me, up to that point, I don't know. It was fine. I was just kind of like, all right, what is the point of this show? And then you find out at the end. First one on my list that you have not seen is Bo Burnham's Inside. This was a comedy special that came out last year, early last year, I think, going over all of the hilarious and tragic parts of COVID. I don't watch a lot of comedy specials anymore, but I cannot recommend this one highly enough. It is he filmed it all by himself, so he filmed it during COVID in his like studio apartment, and it's all him. Like he set up cameras around his apartment, and like the production quality is insane considering he did it by himself. He does all these lights, like he has all these light shows and all these effects that he does with just like him and his computer and a couple lights and a couple cameras. It is so funny. Oh, and he's a musical guy, so like it's a lot of musical numbers. He's like singing through stuff and he makes up these songs. I'll give you a teaser. One of the songs that he sings is called A White Woman's Instagram, and it's just all like stereotypical things that you would see on a white woman's Instagram. Like 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. Oh my God, dude. I'm telling you, go watch it. It's silly.
All right, it better be funny, man.
Oh my God, dude. Just watch like the first, give it like 30 minutes. I'm telling you, you get hooked. I really think you would appreciate it. I know your sense of humor. I think you would appreciate it.
All right, man. I was laughing at some people getting shot the other day, so I hope there's some dark stuff in there.
We're getting ready for Star Wars coming up. So the next one on my list is Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the final season. This one was exclusive to Disney Plus. The old one came out on Cartoon Network, but then they came back and they did like a little mini season to bring it all back together, and then to lead up to some of the other stuff that they had coming out, like the Bad Batch, and Ahsoka obviously being in The Mandalorian, and shit, was she in Boba Fett? I don't even remember. But it's so good. She was in Boba
as a
right. She was in I'll say she was in Boba Fett, even though it was literally one of the episodes that only had the Mandalorian in it.
Yeah. She's there.
I was like, that's why I was having a hard time remembering if it was actually Mandalorian or Boba Fett. But yeah.
Yeah.
So you get some of the best quality animation. You get Dave Filoni, who is basically like the Kevin Feige of Star Wars. And those of you who don't know who Kevin Feige is, Kevin Feige is like he's like God mode of the MCU. He like directs and choreographs all of the MCU stuff. If somebody goes to Kevin Feige and they're like, hey, is this happening? And he gets to say yes or no. Dave Filoni is basically the equivalent of that for Star Wars. And this was his show. I mean, he wrote, I think he wrote it. He definitely directed it and produced it. So good. Like quality of animation, the story is so good. Highly recommend it. Especially the last 4 episodes are like literally like a little mini movie. So highly recommend that. Next one, you and I both hope to talk a little bit further about this at a future date, whenever we can get Nicholas, our friend, to do a deep dive.
Oh yeah, our Greek brother.
Yes. Vox Machina, another one coming from Amazon Prime. This one follows I don't even know how best to put it. This is why we really need Tick Greek.
A ragtag team of mercenaries.
It's based off of like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that is like live streamed by these
Critical
Role.
Yeah.
And so these are like their characters, really solid voice acting. It's incredible all around.
I will say when it started, I was like, this is okay. And then after those first 3 episodes, I like this. It took this second. Like I think they did it, or Amazon does their stuff in waves of 3. For a second.
Somebody's at my door and I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah. So for this Vox Machina, Amazon does their stuff in waves of 3. So first 3 episodes, you get like, I think the homie said it was like directly pulled from whatever Critical Role had done for that set. And then the next 3 episodes is a new story. And then the following 3 follows that same story from the episodes 4, 5, and 6. It was really good. That's where for me it gets a lot better and it heats up. It keeps you engaged. The art is really good. It like if you've seen Castlevania, it kind of looks like that, not on like the same level because Castlevania they was on something else when they made that. Um, but yeah, the art's really good. It's funny. I think in the beginning the cursing is kind of gratuitous for me, which I was like, it's okay, it's cool. This is getting annoying. They tone it down a bit, and then keep it funny. Uh, keep all the jokes going. Um, but yeah, Vox Machina, highly recommend from both O'Shaughnessy and I. Can't talk about the next one because I didn't watch Dark, so I'm going to defer to O'Shaughnessy when he returns to talk about Dark. And here he comes. So we're on Dark now. Tell the people about Dark because I've never seen Dark, but I've heard that I should watch Dark.
This is an awesome show. This is kind of breaking my rule a little bit because it did, I think, come out originally in like 2015. There's 3 seasons of it. It is a German show, so it's all in German. I think it is dubbed in English though, so like you can listen to it with American like voiceover. I think it's fine. The German voice acting, in my opinion, is better. I don't really like anything that's dubbed because it just always feels off to me. But the whole show centers around this small little town in Germany, and there's some like time traveling shenanigans going on. But it's not like a sci-fi show. It's like a dark, hence the name. It's like a dark thriller. So it's less about like the science of time traveling and stuff. It's just kind of like, it's more like mystery and thriller and psychological. It borders on horror. There's some parts of it that are definitely like intense. But it's so good. It's so well done. 3 seasons. They like the guy or girl who the creator of the show clearly knew what they wanted to tell from start to finish. And there's like a very solid story that's wrapped up in 3 succinct seasons. Very, very, very much recommended if you're into like a sci-fi kind of horror vibe. And that leads me right into the next one, which you also haven't seen, which is Archive 81.
Yeah,
another
is that
Netflix
also a
show? Yeah, this
horror?
one just came out. Archive 81 came out like a couple months ago. It focuses on a guy that he restores film for a living. That's his job. He like restores old film for museums, and he gets approached by some millionaire entrepreneur guy, and he's like, I want you to go out to this remote facility and restore these tapes. They have something to do with a fire at this property that we used to own, and we have to do some stuff for investigative purposes. And so he's like, we have to send you out to this facility because the tapes are in like such a rough condition that you have to go out into the middle of nowhere because we can't transport them. And so he goes out here, and it just gets really spooky. And that one's definitely like a sci-fi horror thriller with like a big emphasis on the horror. And it's just really, really, really well done. Story's really cool. There's some time travel-y stuff in there too, but that's not the main focus of it. The acting is great and highly recommend. Seems like they're going to make another season, but they might not. Could go either way.
I mean, I'll add it to my list.
Definitely check it out.
I'll check it out.
Ones that we were talking about earlier that it did really well. A lot of people watched it, but Netflix might have scrapped it because people weren't watching it fast enough. I think this might be one of those shows. But the way that it leaves off, even if they don't get a second season, it's like, okay, it could end there. That'd be all right.
No, let's see if it's canceled.
Oh, you can barely hear me?
Yeah.
You can barely hear me?
No, not me. The chat can barely hear you.
What?
Yeah.
Why? How long has that been a thing?
Yeah, it looks like it might be canceled.
Hello?
Yeah, Netflix did cancel it.
What? That sucks.
I'm sorry. This is what we were talking about earlier. Canceling things that we enjoy. because of how their metrics are.
Yeah.
But and before just to I'm just gonna throw this out there. I feel like their algorithms are weird. They don't know what to recommend and to who. Like, so don't throw like I don't know. Don't throw Married at First Sight at me. I don't want to. Like, they should have thrown Archive 81 at me. Of course, I'm gonna watch Archive 81.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, but that's because you did watch the Married at First Sight for so long. So like, they're obviously gonna.
Yeah, no, not on my Netflix and not on any account that's mine. It's like my girlfriend. She loves Married at First Sight. I watch it with her. That's on her Netflix profile, not mine. I got 4.
Hey, chat, can you hear me better now, or am I still super low? That's gonna be a bummer if all of that stuff that we just recorded is inaudible. Still about the same. Well, I don't know why that is. So I'll have to look at that later. Anyways, we're coming close to wrapping anyway. Last 2 things on my list are is it because the microphone's turned not towards me?
Star Wars Visions.
Star Wars Visions. It's awesome. Go check it out. It's little short stories about Star Wars.
The Force.
And it's in anime. They got like 9 different anime studios to do like different little episodic things. They're not tied together in any way. Some of them are incredible. It's towards the bottom of my list because some of them just aren't the best.
No, one specifically is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Pretty bad. But
this guy's using the Force to sing. I hate that. Yeah. I don't care if I spoiled it for you. This trash. The episode is trash. I hate it so much.
That was pretty cringy, but there was some.
I hate it so much.
The first episode was super dope. Just go watch the first episode of Star Wars Visions, and then there's like 1 or 2 other ones in there that are like, holy shit, really, really, really cool.
Yeah, and you can tell what studio made it. Like you can watch it, and then if you watch anime enough, you know, like, oh yeah, they did like Kill la Kill, or they did
yeah.
What's that thing called? It's like Pro something. Yeah, Berserk. This is like some Pro something. I think it's the same studio. It's on like I saw it on HBO Max before. I just can't remember the name, but you can tell who did the art. It's really good. Besides that, singing Force episode is horrible. Horrible.
So yeah, just go watch the first episode of Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus. Finally, maybe surprisingly, maybe unsurprisingly to a lot of you, I have Squid Games at the bottom of my list of things that you should watch, but this one definitely got overhyped. For sure. I also feel like I missed something else that came out earlier this year that should be on here. Wasn't there something else that was on the hype train for like a hot second, like right before Squid Games? I'm gonna have to go back.
I don't remember, but Squid Games is getting a season 2.
Squid Games.
Also, so
Squid Games is one of the best starts of a show that got me so interested, and then by episode 4, I just really wanted it to end. It got so cringy so fast. I will say though, it's the first couple episodes are incredible. They set up something that unfortunately just doesn't pay off. But I had such a good time with the first couple episodes. I was like blown away. So that is like my list of things that have come out in the past couple years that maybe have flown under your radar, maybe not. Go check it out.
For me, I only got 2 things for you because I don't like a lot. So besides like movies and random comic book related things, and everything I want to recommend is comic book related also. So as I was watching Squid Games, the homie, and shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Ninja Bunny, they recommended a show called Alice in Borderland to me. And it's kind of like Squid Games in that they're playing a game for their life, but they didn't do it voluntarily. They get like transported there, and then there's all this stuff that goes on. Um, it's really good, based on the manga, the same name, and to me it's so good. I didn't read the manga like I usually would because I didn't want to spoil the show. It's definitely getting season 2, so definitely recommend that. And don't judge me for this next recommendation, because it's based off a comic. It had a show on Netflix. So what I'm going to recommend is called Super Crooks. It's like some shitty.
Why would people judge you off of that?
Super because Crooks. All right, did you see Jupiter's Legacy?
No, but I think that was not a good show.
It's not a good show. It got canceled immediately. But Super Crooks is based off of that world. So Jupiter's Legacy is based off a comic. It's like an Image comic. Mm-hmm. Super Crooks is tied into all of that. So Super Crooks is like the anime version, and they're like crooks with powers, and they're trying to do a heist. I love heist movies because like I love like Italian Job. I love I love Ocean's 11. I've lost all my credibility apparently. So it is what it is. That's what I'm saying. Don't judge me. Like I really enjoyed it. It gets really good as you watch it. It's really fun to watch. I like things with like a backstory and lore that I can go back and look into where it all came from.
Okay.
But it all ties directly into that Jupiter's Legacy stuff. So those are my recommendations.
So do I need to have watched Jupiter's Legacy?
No, don't watch Jupiter's Legacy.
Okay.
You do not need to. The Jupiter's Legacy is really not good. It's really bad. But it's just interesting. Like if you want to look it up, because as you see the characters in Super Crooks, you can look up the Praetorian and then see like, oh, this is this character. Wow, this is cool. Like it's just cool.
Okay. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, you might like it, but as the chat says, I've lost my credibility for recommending for recommending Super Crooks. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe I'll put that up top. I don't think I have anything else on the top of the docket. I'm trying to rewatch some Marvel stuff right now to get ready for Miss Marvel, and I'm reading a lot of comics lately just because I just got hip and I got my Game Pass thing came with three free months of Marvel Unlimited. So I've been reading all the
mine did too. You told me this, didn't you?
Yeah. Go read all the comics. I think you can still get that deal. And it's got like all of them. It's got everything. I'm reading Annihilation right now, which is I don't even know what it's going to be about yet because I'm only like a couple issues in. But I tried to watch Captain Marvel again last night. I fell asleep. I do like though, just going off on a completely different tangent. I do like how Marvel is doing the space stuff. Like I think they do that better.
Right.
Then definitely the multiverse stuff that they tried to do in Doctor Strange didn't really scratch my itch.
Don't judge that.
But
the multiverse,
like Captain Marvel, I definitely have my issues with the movie, but I really appreciated the way that they like told the space stuff. You know what I mean? Like the visuals and like showing traveling between planets and the special effects and the ship design and. Like, I feel like they pay a lot of attention to the intergalactic stuff, which gives me hope for the next Thor movie. Because it seems like that movie is going to take place in a lot of space stuff. But
the galactic stuff is the wave, I guess. That's what they're going towards. Luckily, I've read all those comics, so I don't actually need to go back and read it again. But you know me, I'm old school. So I'm going to get that book. I still got a trade sitting on my couch right now that I need to open.
Yeah, what happened to the comics you bought last time? We were.
I was just in there. It's Gathering Dust.
All right.
I didn't read it. I didn't read it because I started playing Elden Ring, and then I just. What are you gonna? That's all I did.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? How far are you in Elden Ring right
now? Unreasonably strong and not far. I'm like level 134, but I haven't.
Oh my god!
Beaten the Lindell sewer yet.
Oh yeah, you are way over leveled.
I know.
You're gonna want to stop at a certain point, otherwise you're just gonna walk through things.
That's what I want. I like the path of least resistance. I literally walked into the mountains and I was like, yeah, they're too strong. So I left. Now I'm headed to the sewer
mountains are scary.
Go through hell.
All right, you're like caught up to me. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get on and play with you.
Let's do it
once Nicole gets less pregnant. All right, man. Well, cool. I gotta go figure out what's going on with my mic. Apparently, it looks like it's doing all right. You can hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you all right, but
we're gonna find out if maybe any of these recordings are usable or not. It'll be really funny if this is all just
they aren't
throwaway. But
maybe
anyway,
Shinbo just has a terrible piss poor headset.
Piss poor microphone out of here.
Yeah, get your mic fixed. Yeah. Get your headphones fixed.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, just enjoy the shows. If you watch them, let us know what you think, especially if Super Crook, since my credibility is now gone.
Yeah, I want to do a little bit on that, and I think I want to do a little bit of a dig into Vox Machina because we both loved that. So we're gonna see if we can do a featurette on Vox Machina coming up. Other than that, yeah, hang out, come out. We'll see you on the next one. Oh
yeah. Bing bong. Peace.
Bang bong. I need like a sound clip of that. All right.